Hey everybody, it's the Toy Duo team and we're back. Let's roll the music.
When you have addiction and your shelves are overflowing,
Hold tight.
when you don't know what new is coming, but you fear you might miss out, just sit right back, just relax and watch and listen. The Toy Duo team brings you what you need, the toy news you didn't know you needed. Action figures, TV news, all the pop culture you can handle
I love it when a plan comes together. What?
on your shelf.
Cars and hotels from hundreds.
Can you hear the other background
Yeah.
stuff playing? Oh my gosh, that was so unprofessional. Yeah, so apparently and when you're on a web page, then there's like the ads or whatever. It was like an ad playing. It's just
Oh, yeah.
hilarious. I can't believe that happened. Anyways, this week on the Toy Duo team, it's episode 114. And this week is JOeFest. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I think John might pop in real quick just to like show us around JOeFest or whatever. If he does, then we'll say, hey, can you go over to this guy's table? Hey, can you go over to this giguy's table? And just see how many different places we could potentially get him to like run to.
He'll probably do it too.
That's would be funny. Anyways, all right. Anyways, let's say hi to some people in the chat. We got Gap After Dark. He is here. Collecting with Cool is here saying hello. Prophets here saying howdy. We got Vagon here. And Sir Eric Brown, he's also in the chat. You are pulling double duties. We got Jonathan Redmond. Rolando, the toy hunter, is here. And I'm sure more people will jump into the chat and stuff like that. Anyways, we didn't have a show last week. Has it been 2 weeks or 1 week that we didn't have a show? Do you remember? Because I had COVID. I had COVID and then we didn't have last week. So I'll just kind of fill everybody in. I was sick. I finally got the COVID-19. I finally joined the club after 5 years of this thing being out. It was not fun, let me tell you. And then so last week we had another little thing pop up in my family. So my brother, you guys have probably seen him in the chat before as Galactic Mule. He'd like to show up. He would watch like from his TV over the weekend and stuff like that. He passed away unexpectedly week ago. So last week I was actually with his family, my nephew and my sister-in-law and stuff like that in Orlando, kind of just trying to help out a little bit in the aftermath and stuff like that. They do have a GoFundMe because they do want to bring him back to California and bury him here. So, unexpected costs and stuff like that. I think I put the link in the comments if anybody's interested. And I know that there were some people that already went over there and donated. And I got to say, thank you for that because we really appreciate it. And the thing is, it's like, I can't believe how generous people are. And it just really, makes me realize that there's a lot of great people in the world and stuff like that. It was sort of unexpected because I was talking to him literally like maybe an hour and a half before. And it was just like another day. It was the craziest thing. When my nephew called me, I was like, what are you talking about? It like knocked me on my ass a little bit. So I'll just give a little background. He was walking his dog. And he's only about 5 years old. He was 6 years older than me. I was going to say about 5 years, but he was 6 years older than me. He was out walking his dog. Another person in the area didn't have control of their dog. It was a much bigger dog, attacked his dog. And he separated them and then collapsed. He had a heart attack. So they couldn't revive him, right? So their dog got scooped up by these other people. And they cleaned them off. And then when they gave them back later, after they got back from the hospital and stuff like that, never mentioned this dog attack, never mentioned that their dog was injured. They didn't find out until the next day when they saw like the pus and stuff like that. And I'm like, it was just crazy, you know, like a crazy set of circumstances. Then, of course, you got all these like wild things going on. What could have happened? Was there like a confrontation? Was there something more nefarious, right? It's like one of those 48 hours episodes where it was like, and then what happened, right? But apparently it was nothing like that. It was basically just the struggle over the dogs. And yes, kind of crazy week. So that's where I'm at. I don't know what we're going to do next week if we're going to have a show, because, you know, things are ever changing. So thanks for hanging out this weekend, Eric. And thanks to everybody who kind of has reached out and stuff ahead of time. I really appreciate it. But anyways, no more Galactic Mule in the chat. And you guys cannot message him and get anything from Disney anymore. So if you were able to get anything, that's over. And I'm not flying out there to fill in all the stuff that you guys want. They're going to move back. Like his wife and kids are going to move back from Florida and stuff, because it's just, you know, they were the only ones out there and stuff like that. But at least he got to travel around. You know, they bought this camper van. They traveled around for like a year and a half and stuff like that before finally ending up in Florida. So that's kind of like really cool. You know, he was able to like sell his properties here, buy that camper van, and kind of work remotely while they traveled the country and stuff like that. And then they ended up in Florida, and they started like this. They were just starting like a Airbnb business where they were managing a bunch of like Airbnbs for owners. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. But anyways, all right. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to take like so much time talking about it, but I really do appreciate everybody in the chat that's kind of sent condolences and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Let's see, who did I miss join? I think Connor Spears jumped in, and I think that's it so far. There's probably other people there, because I see a lot more people have joined the chat and stuff like that. But anyways, let's get started here. What do we usually do first? I forgot. It's been so long. Oh, bragging camp. Do you have anything you want to talk about or share this week, Eric?
Just one small thing I picked up from eBay. I had no idea these things existed. So I'm a big fan of Ralph McQuarrie's artwork from Star Wars, like a lot of people are, right? I've got the like that big book, the like coffee table book with all of his art and whatnot. Right. And you might be familiar, like he used to you know, make up the Lucasfilm Christmas cards every year. So there's like famous pictures that you've seen Santa Yoda with the toys and whatnot. I had no idea at one point in the early 2000s, they made figures of those like Christmas cards. So I had to get one of these.
Oh, that is cool.
And it comes with I haven't opened it yet. I will open it. It comes with like a little card, and it's sandwiched in the inside of the original artwork.
Oh, that is neat.
So I also have they have a 3PO and R21 that I have on the way as well. So I had to get those. This was this came out, when was this? 2003. So I was a junior in high school. So that was like when I was not collecting.
It's pretty cool. The only McQuarrie figure I have, I think, is that the Chewbacca, which is the, you know, it's like a action figure, but it's the artwork one where it later becomes
looks Zeb. Like Zeb.
Yeah, it looks like Zeb. But I think that's really cool. I mean, that's, to me, I didn't know those existed either. And the thing is like it's like those Muppets, those Star Wars Muppets figures. Yeah,
those are really expensive. I'd get those if I could get them. I remember like seeing them at Disney World, like I don't know, whenever they were out in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and then be like, oh, that's cool, but I'm just not going to get something like that. I wish I did.
Right. Yeah. So I don't have anything so cool. Let's see. I want to point this out. Gap is saying that Ross is starting to get the exclusive Superman 2025 7-inch figures. I I have not seen one real McFarlane figure, I think, at Ross the last couple of times I went. I barely saw a couple of those Acolyte figures, and I saw some K2SOs,
Okay.
stuff like that. Prophet, can't believe you passed on the Muppets.
Yeah.
I did pick these little $10 Superman movie
Are those the
figures.
Spin Masters?
Yeah, the Hawk Girl and the Superman. It's crummy, dude. The Superman's got like paint wear on his head. It's a different color paint inside the little curly, the skin tones
right.
off. This can't even turn his head because of the hair and stuff like that. I kind of wish the helmet would have like lifted off a little bit.
Right.
But overall, I mean, for $10, right? They're not horrible. They're not horrible. Yeah. I probably pick up the rest of the set just to do that Build-A-Figure if I can find Green Lantern. That's the only one I haven't been able to find. So I'm not picking the other ones up until I find that one, because I've seen plenty of the other ones around.
Sure.
Right? Which is,
yeah.
And I wish they were a little bit bigger, but I think because they don't really match up with like the Mattel size. So I can't wait to see what Mattel does with these DC figures when they start producing stuff next year.
Do you think they'll go back and produce figures for the James Gunn Superman movie?
I think if it's super popular, right? Like if they really built like a DC universe and they really like after the Superman movie immediately announce that there's going to be like a follow-up of Justice League, I can see all of those coming out. But I think it's really, to me, going to be the way I think about it is I got to see how popular this movie is, because it looks like a lot of fun. But I mean, I can't remember that Superman Returns, when they did that one, which was supposed to be the continuation of the Christopher Reeve, whatever, right? They were supposed to, they were pretending like 3, 4, and 5 or something like that never existed, and 6 and 7, however many they had didn't exist, and they were just picking up after this thing. That one kind of ruined Superman for me. And even
is that the Brandon Routh one?
Yeah, and even that Man of Steel, I wasn't super excited for that because of the previous thing. So this one looks cool, but the biggest part of the Superman thing that I'm looking forward to is the dog.
Oh yeah.
Crypto looks funny. And when he's biting, nipping at his feet and stuff like that, and the latest trailer looks hilarious. So
yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't know. I think I'm still more excited for Fantastic Four. But
Gap saying I called Hawk Girl him. Well, I called the Awe Striker the Vamp in a video, and I think I misidentified something else too. And do you ever do that? I mean, like because I'm recording myself, right? I'll find myself when I'm listening back to something, I'll go, wait a minute, I just completely said the wrong thing. And sometimes I just go, whatever, because I'm just going to let it go and let people point it out. Right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but yeah, I'm still really excited for Superman. I wonder if there's ever going to be anything in my hometown celebrating Rachel Brosnahan, who's playing Lois Lane. She's from my hometown.
Really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, she went to my high school.
That's neat. I don't know if anybody famous went to my high school. I think we had a pro football player, and then about 4 years before I graduated, that lady that was on The Talk. There was a lady that was on The Talk or The View or something that went to my school.
Yeah, there are a bunch of people, but the next most famous you probably know is Gary Sinise.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah. So do you think this guy looks like what you would want Superman to look like, or do you think?
Yeah. At first, when I think he bulked up enough. Like I remember when we saw the casting initially, and people saw pictures of him, and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. Right.
I mean, he did such a good job with that Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's worthwhile to see what he's going to do with this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Okay, so let's do the TV and movie news you didn't know you needed, just because we're talking about movies. And the only thing that I have this week, besides if you want to have a conversation about this Star Wars Starfighter, is it's a throwback to when we were talking about the Fantastic Four. Remember a few weeks ago, we were talking about Fantastic Four, and I did this whole thing where I said, hey, the Thunderbolt ship, the ship at the end of the Thunderbolts and the post-credits, it doesn't look like the First Steps ship.
You said there was a missing wing or something.
Yeah, because the one in the video shows there's like 4 wings and stuff like that. But now that I think this whole controversy is coming back up again because they've been releasing the popcorn buckets. And this popcorn bucket shows Mr. Fantastic with his arm around the bucket and a picture of Excelsior, which is the Fantastic Four ship. And then this thing announcing the bucket points to the fact that what's it? Feige? How do you pronounce his last name?
Feige.
Okay, Feige said he squashed the theory because they said many assumed that the spacecraft was the one spotted in the Thunderbolts, but he squashed the theory. And he said that their ship is the Excelsior and that there is a Fantastic Four ship entering the MCU, but he's not sure they're the same ship. And that's what he told Empire Magazine. So looks like
I thought you were on something when you said that initially, to be honest, because I'm like, I'm not gonna go back to the movie theater and rewatch Thunderbolts just to see that one ship in the end of the post credits to do a comparison. But it sounds like you were right.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny to me because I'm like, which Fantastic Four are we getting? Right? Because I went back to that one with the Jessica Alba and that one where they did the
Chris
Silver
Evans,
Surfer.
yeah.
And I only remember seeing the space station. I don't remember seeing a ship that they took up there, right? I remember they had like a space station.
Yeah, I haven't seen those movies since they came out. They were not good.
But then the thing is that Roger Corman Fantastic Four that never got released, they never showed a ship. And I'm thinking, how easy would it be for them to get Mr. Sponge with the rest of the Fantastic Four to show? I'm just kidding.
I think it's more likely that it's Doom.
You think so? Yeah, probably. And he's just from a different universe.
Something like that. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think you're the first person that pointed that out. So
okay, so Prophet is saying it's grown-up Franklin coming from the 616. Let's see. That could be. It's just Fantastic Four on a different ship. MCU is not that deep when it comes to storytelling. And somebody's like SpongeBob. What, Mr. Sponge? If you go on to Northern Nomad, if you go to YouTube and type in the Roger Corman Fantastic Four, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, that was the cheesiest special effect.
You could also see it referenced in one of those seasons of Arrested Development.
Okay.
When what's his name? David Cross's character, Tobias Funke, wears a like that foam kind of costume for Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. It's just hilarious because when they did the Mr. Fantastic and he stretches, he goes like that, and then they follow his arm. And then the camera pans, right? Like, and that's supposed to be him stretching. I'm like, come on, that's bad. And then the Human Torch is a total cartoon. I mean, it just turns into like that 1960s cartoon. It's hilarious. All right, let's move on. I know we were going to get to some action figure reveals, but I did this thing a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the Shuma Gorath, and then I had already done this one. So luckily you guys get to learn a little bit about Iron Man today. So this is the segment where I call a very brief history of superheroes that you did not know you needed. And I said it again, did not, and it should be didn't know you needed. But anyways, this is Iron Man, who was co-created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, Don Heck, and Jack Kirby, and first appeared in number 39 of Tales of Suspense in 1962. Can you believe
Larry Lieber Stan Lee's brother or something?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Lieber is Stan Lee's real last name, but I guess
do you think that
they're related?
So he just said, hey, let me throw your name in here so that you could get some comic book credit later on?
Oh, I don't know. I could Google it real quick, but
All right. And then Iron Man #1 didn't come out till 1968. So the thing is, he was introduced in 1962, but he did not get his own comic book until 1968, which I think is really interesting. That you have a character that's been around for what, like 6 years, and doesn't get his own comic book yet. But
yeah,
he didn't just end up until what?
He's Stanley's brother.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But he didn't just he wasn't just in Tales of the Suspense, because in 1963, the Avengers #1, he was one of the original Avengers, which consisted of Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hulk, Thor, and the Wasp. And Captain America, of course, was I don't know what this Dissevered. That is total misspelling. Discovered probably. Issue number. I don't know what's written there. So
was dismembered.
yeah, that is a total spell check mess up. Anyways, so he was originally part of the Avengers, and Iron Man's probably one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, if not probably my favorite.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought the Hulk was.
Yeah, the two of them are like just real close. I am always been like Hulk, but this Iron Man right here, it's always kind of been sort of like one of my favorites. I think the idea of Iron Man, where he's kind of just a smart guy who builds some technology, right? It's totally like believable. You don't have to be like a superhero or anything to be Iron Man. You just got to be able to put on that armor. And I think one of my favorite series was when Jim Rhodes takes the mantle of Iron Man, and Tony Stark's off boozing it up. And then he has to fight Jim Rhodes because Jim Rhodes is kind of losing his mind because the helmet has kind of messed up his brain a little bit. And he ends up taking that original gray armor, the low tech armor, to defeat Jim Rhodes in the new armor. That was kind of like the storylines I remember in the 80s that I was really big into. Anyways. Enough of Iron Man. Dun, dun, dun.
I was always more of like I always love, as far as the Avengers go, I was always more of a Thor fan, but I identified more with Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Bruce Banner, yeah. I did like that 1970s Hulk show. Was probably one of my favorite TV series. I mean, still today. I think if I watch those, I think the idea behind them is such a common television storyline, right? Where you have a wanderer who wanders around where he's being kind of hunted or pursued, but he's such a good guy that's been misunderstood. And then he ends up involved in everybody's lives along the way and fixes these little problems every week. That's like a very traditional like storytelling thing, right? And then I know it's more modern to have that like overarching story arc, but he has that, so even back in the 70s, that was a big thing where he had this like story arc that carried him from place to place. But
I never watched all of those. I just picked up reruns in the early 90s whenever I was at my grandma's.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of shows like that had the same premise, right? The Immortal, they had the Route 66, they had there were some old cowboy ones like the Rebel and stuff like that, where they just went around. And even Mission Impossible, the TV show, was similar, right? Because they had a different location every week. And then they had that TV show, The Invisible Man, was, he wasn't like on the run, I guess, whatever. Traveling, let's see. The Hulk show had a traveling Ronin. Yeah, that's true. Distinctive example of animation evolution is Super Friends to Justice League Unlimited. All right, let's get into these JOeFest or these reveals and stuff like that. Some of these are not going to be totally tied to JOeFest. Some of these are going to be some of the things that came out in the last couple of weeks that we didn't have a chance to really talk about. But here's a JOeFest picture. It is what is this, Animal Kingdom or whatever, the Beast Kingdom or whatever it is.
Oh, I should know
think
this.
See, the thing is, if Dan were here, he would know, because I know that he's picked up some of these figures. He actually had some that came in a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, "Oh, I have my Beast King." So these are like going to be new pre-orders coming up. And is this guy like a red hawk, you think, or who is this red-faced bird? Is that like a robin or red hawk, like red robin?
Kind of looks like between a cardinal and a woodpecker.
Yeah. Okay. And then they gave him like a little goatee to make him look. Yeah. Anyways, what do you think about these like kind of animalistic creatures like that?
They look cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not for me, like, but they look cool.
Yeah. I have never picked one up, but I might, just to see what they're like. And then this was at JOeFest. This is like a 4-inch figure though, like a 3.75, and it's Downtown Sergeant Brown.
So
It's
it's
part of
supposed
that
to be
Eagle
Eddie
Force.
Murphy.
Yeah, it's one of those things like what Ramen does, where they like make a figure that looks like something, but they don't really call him that.
Right.
But yeah, he's supposed to be like JT's here. He's just saying hello. We did say hi to Northern Nomad. He called us suckers, by the way. $30 for a 4-inch figure is a lot, but because I think this isn't a convention exclusive, if I were there, I might want to pick one up. Just because, right? Like convention figures are kind of fun to pick up. Let's see, Bushida. I'm excited if those warriors have the articulation and feel of the animal warriors of the kingdom. I think they will. I just don't know. Like, I have never had one of those animal warriors, so I'm going to have to pick one of those up. But do you think this looks enough like the Beverly Hills Cop to make it something you would pick up?
I don't have a strong affinity for the movie to begin with.
Okay.
Probably not for me. I think the face sculpt is too like generic, right?
Yeah.
But like if you just like black guy with a mustache and look at his outfit, he's like, yeah, Beverly Hills
that's
Cop.
definitely right? Axel Foley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I were there, I would seriously say, yeah, if I got up to the booth or whatever and they had one, I'd probably pick one up just to say, yeah, that's kind of cool. Throw it in the collection, but it's not 6-inch. Jonathan saying a 6-inch one would be cool. I totally agree with you. A 6-inch would be really cool, but that is a 4-inch figure. And you know what's kind of interesting? Let me do this really quick. Since we're talking about 6-inch figures, anyways, I'll just show these off. I am going to start working on a couple of custom figures, and I picked up this 3D head sculpt, and I put him in this karate outfit for now, just as a temporary. See, look familiar?
Can you bring it more up close?
Yeah, hold on.
I can't. You're gonna say something, and it'll probably come to mind. But
JT says that doesn't look like Eddie Murphy. What if I put him next to this guy right here?
I definitely don't know the other guy. The guy with the sunglasses almost looks like if you had a pasty freckled face with red hair that kind of looks like Carrot Top nowadays.
All right, it's supposed to be Shonuff and Leroy from The Last Dragon.
Okay.
So maybe when I get some paint on them, it'll look a little bit better. But oh yeah, Northern Nomad, Shonuff and Bruce Leroy. Yeah, so I picked up those heads, and I just got to find the right body for him, right? Like this Red Ninja maybe for Leroy because it's a kung fu outfit, but we'll see. You know who I wish?
Here I am saying Carrot Top. Well, to be fair, if you look up a recent picture of Carrot Top, he's gotten kind of jacked, and he does his hair kind of like that with a man bun. So
yeah, I get it. You know what's funny though is like Icon Heroes that does those Zujitsu figures.
Yeah.
They used to do like the Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid. They had Cobra Kai and Karate Kid figures. And I kind of wish they would do a Last Dragon set. Right? Like then they could do like a whole bunch of them, right? Like all Shonuff's crew and stuff like that. And I think that would be kind of cool, but maybe I'll mention it. Anyways, all right, let's move on. Super 7 announced the Cobra Commander, the I'm Not a Man or Almost a Man or Almost a Snake or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways, Northern Nomad says Shonuff hair definitely the same as Carrot Top. Let's see. All right. So I know you're not into Super 7, but this looks like the O-ring figure and looks pretty cool. I mean, I haven't
for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I have not got one of them. So, oh, well. And then G.I. Joe had some reveals because it is YoJoe June. You know what's really interesting? It's YoJoe June. I made a video yesterday, and what happened to YoJoe June? They had like what? One fan stream or two fan streams or one fan stream, they canceled
they canceled one. Yeah.
And then nothing. They like,
well, they released, didn't they just release some stuff?
Yeah, but they didn't release one figure. We're going to talk about that one in a minute.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that like they didn't have their stream, but then they threw everything up that was leaked like the day before their stream. And I don't know if they're like saying, well, we gotta like stop these leaks before we have our streams, or it just boggles my mind. Like it's this big buildup. It was going to be all this stuff and like nothing. They're not. I mean, last week it was like radio silence from the G.I. Joe team. They're supposed to launch a HasLab this month, and there's a Transformers fan stream coming up next week. So
I mean, they can have multiple streams for different brands.
They could. Now, here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing, though. So if they launch a G.I. Joe HasLab at the end of June, like they are planning, right?
I thought it was was it supposed to be at San Diego Comic-Con, or was it going to get launched in June?
They said that it was supposed to be at the end of the month. And it was kind of interesting to me because they usually run them for 45 days and then they don't launch. They've never had like crossovers where they had a couple. Oh, they did have a couple going at the same time, right? That's so that Engine of Vengeance was competing with something else. So it made me wonder, like, I wonder if they were trying to like hold it off and wait till Comic-Con. Like maybe they were just going to say, hey, technical difficulties, we're going to launch at Comic-Con because then we'll have all the fans there and taking a bunch of pictures, a bunch of advertising. Because that last one, oh, okay, Jonathan's saying it was lame last year too. I guess I don't remember that far back. But
yeah, the last Joe figures I got were was it the Slice and Dice and then Budo?
Yeah, those pictures I got coming up
when they botched the pre-order time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, mistakes happen, but yeah.
So with the box on this Awe Striker, which I called a vamp in my video, my other video, there is a bridge layer in the background. It's probably been pointed out like hundreds of times or whatever, but on the package art, there is a bridge layer. So if it's not the ramen toy bridge layer, then Hasbro might be getting ready to launch their own bridge layer. Okay. Connor saying they're swapping factories this year and said there'd be production delays. So I was wondering if it was to do with that. It could be.
Maybe.
Could be. All right.
Some
so
other
anyways,
behind the scenes issues with God knows what.
Yeah, they had a couple of these retro carded, I think. One was that bat, and then you got this other one, which is your basic kind of filler figure, which is kind of like a cool idea to have a generic style figure, right? Which is what I would have expected Grunt to be, except for if they wouldn't put the name on them, right? Then you wouldn't have like 10 Grunts. Right, you would just have 10 nameless dudes, or if they had different stickers that you could put on the nameplate or something like that, that would have been kind of cool.
They could probably like redeco those pretty easily. Just churn out different color schemes, different kind of like style fatigues and whatnot.
Yeah.
Release the same figure a bunch of times.
Yeah. Now, when I was talking about the first reveal, somebody said that having like some generic female troopers would be nice too, and I agree with that. And I think that 60th sniper figure or whatever that they had could be almost the perfect mold for repaint and release, and to be like that. Is that much different, or the regular bat? Connor, I have the crimson one. Yeah, they're talking about that bridge layer could be a Wolverine with different tank tops as tiers. That could be kind of cool. All right, and then you had this double pack, and I kind of like the slaughter on this one. I mean, I might pick up this double pack just because I don't have the G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter, the classified one, any of them, right? And this could be a cool one because I like the desert kind of camo look.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red force shield and clear chest piece. I'm sold. Oh, yeah, that they're talking about the bat. Or the crimson one. All right. And then this was the figure that got leaked but did not get released. So there's a lot of controversy, right? Like people in the background are speculating now, oh, it's political, it's this. And I made a video and I said it was because of the pants, because they put them in like tactical pants with like knee pads and boots, right? Where they should have put like maybe like tactical 511 pants and maybe like 3/4 boots or shoes or something like that. And the reason I say that is because if you look at, where is it? Where's my selfie figure?
Even so, like even so, if they made the choice to not push this figure for what's going on, completely understand that.
Yeah, so a lot of people argued with me in the comments on that video, basically, and were saying like, no way, these guys all wear tactical pants and like knee pads and stuff like that. But if you look at this Valaverse figure, this is where I got my selfie series, but this is the Duster, and he's like a special ops dude that it was modeled after. And you can see his pants are kind of like exactly kind of what I was like talking about, right? They are like kind of tactical looking pants. They might have like a pocket on the side or something like that, but he's still wearing his belt like normal, that type of thing. That's what I would like expect to see in a figure like this, right? Where he's not wearing that stuff on his leg because you just don't see that, you know, everybody, you would see the belt.
I've never seen a police officer like in the picture on the left wear that much kit with that type of hat.
That's why I'm saying they got him like he's on patrol, like doing traffic, but his belt, right? His belt should be that regular kind of belt with like the holster, the handcuffs, and everything kind of on it. Nothing on his legs, because that's more of like a tactical team or SWAT or something like that. And then the knee pads aren't necessarily something that you would consider, because I mean, if you look at the way this is done, I almost think that if Valaverse were to come out with like a figure, they would totally just do this, right?
Yeah.
Which to me is 100% more accurate to what you might see than this. So
that would it would be funny if you got that. I'm sure this is all the same figure, just with a bunch of accessories and different hats. Right?
Yes, they're all
different
the
head sculpts. So like if you ended up getting this, or anyone got this, it would be a funny picture if you took the hat that the guy was wearing on the left-hand picture in the previous slide, and you put like a crossing guard sign in his hand.
100%.
Right? Like this is like might as well be like kitted out like Hulk Hogan and was it like a Suburban Commando.
Right. I mean, the only reason why he's all decked out directing traffic, if he's down in Raccoon City and there's already been an outbreak,
Exactly.
caused by the Umbrella Corporation. Otherwise, he's wearing like his regular 511s with his regular belt. Yeah, maybe he has that big bulky vest or whatever, but it's going to be more of a standard type vest. Almost like that one, except for probably without the knife. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to have like a couple extra magazines. It's going to have walkie up there and stuff like that. And you know, people can, you know, I don't know. That's just my opinion, anyways. But
yeah.
I do like
brutality not included.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I guess it doesn't matter because they never released the thing, anyways. But I honestly am just hoping that the reason why they didn't release this because they were like, you know what? Maybe he doesn't need knee pads and boots. Maybe we should go back and put different legs on him. And it's not like they have to do a different sculpt. They could just use the legs that they have on Shipwreck.
They've got a coffee cup. Oh my god.
They got to throw some donuts in there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But there is a coffee cup, right? All right, Gary's here. He's saying hello. Oh, you know what? TV and movie news. I should have mentioned that yesterday was the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Okay. And to get back to Jaws, let me just tell you that when I saw it in the theater for the very first time, when right before Roy Scheider says, we're going to need a bigger boat, you know, when Jaws pops his head out, I kicked my brother. I went like back in my chair and I kicked him. So I thought that was kind of a funny story. Nobody else is laughing. So Chris is saying, Chris Voss, I would love a patrol officer. Yes, I would too. Thanks for joining us, man. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Thanks for hanging out. And then this is this what's going to happen with McFarlane? Is they're just going to have like a bunch of these other figures? Like now they got Diablo. Are they going to just like start picking random IP? Yeah. So I thought this one looked pretty cool. This is I had this picture from like I was going to probably be doing it like a couple of weeks ago when we didn't have a couple of shows. But anyways, here are a couple more of those G.I. Joes, right? Is a Slice and Dice? Slice and Dice.
Yeah.
These are the ones you were talking about. Yeah. So these ones got released.
I think the one on the right is Budo, though.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you might be right. I got them all mixed up because I was like, I'm just throwing pictures in there now. Okay. So they had this rocket launcher thing, right? The launcher, and it looks really cool. But the thing is, the Cobra version is still available. Didn't sell. This is basically exactly the same thing. It's just repainted. But Jonathan is saying the Diablo 4 figure is cool as hell, but she sold out in 10 minutes. The production number, yeah, McFarlane. I don't know what to do. And Jonathan, all the ones they did produce and didn't sell will probably end up at Ross. So we'll see at Christmas time. So they built the same thing. And then when I was watching this stream and the guys talk, this is like, he said something like, this just screams G.I. Joe to me. And I'm like, I was making fun of it because I was like, yeah, because it's actually G.I. Joe, right? I mean, you're not going to say this screams Star Wars because it's military, earthy military. So yeah, I mean, like, but the thing is, they were like talking about the compartments that open where the control panels and stuff like that. And he goes, I can't believe the detail. And when I was watching it, I was like, did they do new stuff for this one? And then I was like trying to compare the pictures, and no, it doesn't look any different except for the paint scheme. So it's like, why are you talking about the molding and stuff on something you just repainted? That bothered me. Okay, the Hawk with missiles is what's offered in the 80s. Yeah. So, but that's what I'm like, it's like they were like oogling over like the details on it. And I'm like, but you know what I mean? But it's just,
I mean, I get it, but I playing devil's advocate, what do you expect them to say? They're trying to sell toys.
No, yeah, I guess, right? Yeah.
It's like, this is like easy repaint.
I expected the guy to say, Joe, we just repainted this thing, and look at the details that we came up with last year when we did the Cobra version.
Right.
We did such a good job before. we didn't even have to try to reinvent the wheel.
Well, if you it would be a funny idea for that if you really wanted to, not begging for it, but if you felt compelled, take their fan streams and just dub over it to do like a
Do my own
like an
voiceover.
honest version or whatever, right?
Oh,
Like
okay.
what this really is.
That could be
Yeah.
fun. That could be fun. Maybe
Try and
we'll
do
see.
slightly different voices for the different folks on stream.
So we get to the Star Wars one, and what's that guy? Is it Chris, the guy that's like the older dude that's a designer? Is that his name?
Chris.
They usually show him with the lightsabers at the end lately.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, he's
okay. So
like
so we do the
design
voiceover, and
manager
now
director.
now to Chris, who yelled at a kid at Comic-Con to stop playing because he was doing an interview. Did you ever see that video?
Oh God, I vaguely recall that. Was that San Diego last year?
Yeah, it was on Imperial Communique.
Oh, that's where it was.
Yeah, he was they were right in the interview. They had like a video game machine set up in their booth, and the kid was all excited telling his brother or whatever, "Hey, come over here, come over here." And they started playing, and he turned around and just turned it off. And then he looked at the dad. He says, "We're doing an interview." I was like,
yeah.
All right, well, don't put toys in your thing for kids if you don't want kids around making noise.
He wasn't the warmest person to
No.
talk to when I met him at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used the World War II Peggy Carter with my Joes. I got a Baroness hat on one of my figures too. All right. Anyways, so JOeFest, Rom and Toy is there, and they got wave 2 of the Aces of Aviation.
All right.
So they have on their website, they launched them. They have basically the Lightning Fist figure, the Great Balls of Fire figure, the Hard Deck figure, and the Commander figure. And if you buy the 12 figures in a pack, you get the exclusive Tower Buster figure. Dun, dun, dun. Now, the thing is they don't have 12 Aces of Aviation. So basically, you're going to get 2 or 3 of this one, 2 or 3 of that one, 2 or 3 of that one, 2 or 3 of that one, right? But they do have the previous versions. So I think you get like the previous ones along with like the new ones. And then, it's like a set. And there's a deal on them right now. So here is I think that's the Commander and the Great Balls of Fire figure. So obviously, right, the Commander is the guy who tells Maverick at the end of Top Gun, if you get to your thing and you don't have a real all fly with you, that guy. And then the Great Balls of Fire is obviously it's Goose, right? So I know everybody wants to pick that figure up so they can pop the head off and put it on a doctor's body and recreate their ER action figures, or whatever hospital show he was in. And then you got what do I call that? Lightning?
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, that's obviously the Val Kilmer or Iceman. And then you got the Hard Deck figure, which basically you could, he could just be the dude from V if you wanted him, V visitors, right? So the thing is, the Commander figure is interesting to me. Where are my Aces of Aviation? Because in the original wave of the Aces of Aviation, this was one of the figures.
All right.
So I feel like I got them already, right? So I didn't feel like I needed all 4 because I feel like I got them. And I got to find the helmet. I got them somewhere just to see if the helmet's right. But anyways, if you're into having some Top Gun, Tom Skerritt, yeah, that's Northern Nomad throwing the name out there for me. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Okay, Not Viper's got a new helmet, and I think new head sculpt from wave 1. Okay, thanks, Chris. That's good to know because I didn't actually go look for my helmets, so he probably has the correct helmet then. So that's good to know.
Those look all right.
Yeah. I think they look good. I mean, obviously these are the tests, the final versions, you know, are probably going to come later. So I think he was painting these, probably getting them ready for JOeFest. And then, of course, he's got his 3-0, which is what, 30-30 to go along with the Brave Star figure, which I got to tell you is actually a pretty decent figure. So if the 30-30 is anything like the Brave Star one that they made, he'll be a good one to pick up and add in there also. So let's show that again. So that is pretty cool. Michael Ironside. Yeah, see, Northern Nomad's going to tell me the actual names of all of the people who played those roles. Did you do Val Kilmer
horse
yet?
figure? That horse figure looks pretty interesting because they did the legs kind of like they like bend back like a.
Yes, I think
So
they stuck to the cartoon, right? The cartoon look on them.
Well, I wouldn't know. I've never seen it. The closest thing I've seen is I think they parodied this in that one show, Solar Opposites, on Hulu. But I don't think I've seen an action figure with legs like that stands well. So
right.
the
Jonathan's
balance on that
asking
can be interesting.
Yeah, Jonathan's asking if the Brave Star is 6-inch or 7, and I'm going to say this is kind of how he stands next to Captain America. So he is a little bit taller than Captain America. So I think he ports well with like the 6-inch Marvel Legends figures, because he's not like bigger, right? Like if you put him next to a GI Joe, he's a little bit taller, but not much taller.
So it's not unusual.
Yeah, so it's like he works well with the 6-inch figures and just seems like he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
All right, so 3-0 instead of 30-30. Yeah, I do like that. I'm just curious how well he'll stand on his own, right? Like because of the legs. Yeah.
Or does it need to come with a well, actually just looking at that picture, it looks like it's pegged into a stand as opposed to the figure on the left.
Right.
So
but still looks really, really cool to me. All right, and then San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for Star Wars was revealed. This is the Duel of Fates. I think they did a pretty good job with like the accessories on this.
yeah. I'm really excited.
Look at that lava.
Well, that's not included, but just a little bit underneath.
I'm just messing. Yeah.
No, I know. but yeah, I'm really excited for this. They're obviously not going to give assurance on the stream that it's going to be available on Pulse after, but
it'll be like last year, whether or not it goes up on Pulse, because you can, as you saw last year, like the Cobra Commander, the Once a Man thing, I think barely got any figures out there on Pulse, but that speeder bike with the Darth Maul was plentiful, and it was obvious based on if you were at the convention which one people were interested in buying, right? Death's Head, I think, is on Amazon, right? Yeah. So it was like
well, and it's also obvious that they're going to single pack these figures without all the extra accessories. So I have to imagine now they might not come on the Revenge of the Sith card backs that were Walmart exclusives,
right?
But they're for sure going to re-release these figures just without a lot of the extra accessories. I'm sure a lot of people are just going to be holding out for those whenever they get released. So it'll be interesting to see how well this sells.
So the thing is, they did say they were all new sculpts, right?
Yes.
Built from the ground up. So it will be very interesting to find out if that's actually true, because like we saw with the Maximum Series Hulk, the legs are the same basically as the other Hulks.
I'm pretty sure I've seen confirmation from Hasbro on other like streams and whatnot
Yeah.
that this is definitely all new.
See, because here's where I like to throw a
Maybe
wrench
the
in stuff.
lightsabers aren't new, but like the
Yeah.
body, right?
I do like to throw a wrench into it when they say it's an all new sculpt, because they had that 2-pack of the Psylocke and the one that she got sold with, I can't remember, but they
Thanos.
said
Yeah.
that was an all new sculpt. But I compared all the pictures to that Target exclusive Black Widow, and it looks like that's the sculpt they used for the Psylocke. So it wasn't an all new sculpt from the ground up. But if you twist the words and say this is an all new sculpt for Psylocke,
right?
Yeah, then yeah, okay, fine, it's an all new sculpt for Psylocke. But to me, it's like when Apple does, this is the fastest processor so far. You know what I mean? This is the best camera to date. I mean, yeah, you can just say that on every single one of your streams. It doesn't make it true.
But this is cool. I'm really excited for this. I'm probably gonna get 2.
So here's the thing. I did not get the Darth Maul with the speeder bike last year.
Okay.
I was at Comic-Con. I could have got it. I did not get it. But if I get a chance, I will definitely pick this one up. Just because.
Do you have tickets?
I do. I have a 4-day pass.
Nice.
So I will do what I can. I'll just throw it out there, right? Like, so I'll see what I can do. But I will definitely try to pick this up. And if it seems like it's going to be hard, I'll try to help whoever I can out.
Sure.
Right? So, all right.
I would just say, like,
I am keeping all the
they're probably going to, it's probably going to be a similar case like last year. They're going to have some stock on Pulse after they're going to sell out, and then they're going to restock it because they're not stupid, and they're just going to have more on the way. Right.
Let's see. Jonathan saying, sad that Hasbro has used an extra hand with 6-inch figures as a selling point. I don't know, but those are Force hands.
I think is the bigger point, is that they're Force hands and not like trigger fingers or whatever. For
let me do this.
And they have the ball joints.
The Force hand will make you buy this figure. Okay. See if the Force works.
For me, the coolest effect is the lightsaber clashing effect.
Yes, those looked really cool. I like the fact that they added those in there. I also like the fact that they have that other droid, the one that Anakin jumps on. I think that's a nice touch to have the extra accessories.
Agreed.
Now, JT wants a multi-pass. Now, I don't know if they're doing any what's that movie with Bruce Willis? What was that called? The Fifth Element. I don't know if they're doing any Fifth Element stuff this year. I know what he's saying. He's passing, but because he said multi-pass. Multi-pass. Okay, let's see. Remember, the kids get more. Toy Duo, like, share, comment, supply, replay. Yeah. All right. And did you jump on all 3 of these?
Yes. I was considering getting more, but I got 2 Temple Guards, and then Barriss and the Ronin.
Now, did you get the Ronin just so you can have both versions?
Yes.
Okay. And he does look cool in kind of color, right? As opposed to the.
I just wanted to see it to compare it myself with the Celebration.
And version. I almost feel like I would appreciate this one more because I don't really care for the soft goods that much.
Really?
But I did not pick it up.
I think the soft goods was probably the coolest part of that release. I'm hoping they do more of that.
So that packaging was super cool because you could completely open it, take the figures out, and then put them back in, and it has exactly the same presentation.
Yeah.
Like, it was one that you could open and then close, and then you didn't feel like you took it apart. Yeah. So I like that idea. Let's see. You got the Fifth Element. All right, and then we had some Ghostbusters reveals. This is the rooftop Ghostbusters.
Gozer confrontation.
So what's different between these and
face sculpts? That's it.
because they're just the same as the rest of the movie
Yeah,
figures.
pretty sure it's just the face sculpts.
Do you think that they redid the sculpts for the body since they're just
Doubtful.
renders?
I would doubt that they did that. The one thing with these figures that were very frustrating was the proton packs on
Okay.
some of the figures were really hard to get on.
Yeah.
I think the Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd ones were a pain in the ass to squeeze on.
I
and-
think you're
and
right because
clip
my
in.
Bill Murray doesn't have his pack. Probably for that reason. Like I was just like,
I remember sweating trying to clip that in without stressing the plastic too much from the straps.
now I did take these two figures and I did put their heads on grunt bodies, GI Joe grunt bodies, because
okay.
they joined the army
Stripes.
for some reason.
Stripes, yeah.
Because one of them couldn't even do 5 push-ups or however many. Anyways, $99. That's not bad. They kept them at $25 a figure. Did you jump on them?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll have to tell me how they are.
That I will.
All right. And then the 1984 Proton Pack coming to your house? All right. Now, what's different between this and the HasLab?
The deco is more 84 accurate. I think there's the ribbon cable is like probably the biggest piece. But there are also accessories. Like I'm not sure if it comes. It's unclear whether or not it comes with a stand, like the HasLab did. One thing I think I heard is that it won't come with hardware to connect an Alice frame, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. I'll have to procure that on top of the new Alice frame.
So do you have the HasLab Proton Pack?
I do.
Do you ever wear it around?
Well, no, not yet.
When Ghostbusters Day, you didn't suit up?
No, I want to get the flight suit and do that for Halloween, like every year. But
okay.
But I need to get that. I need to. I think gbfans .net or whatever it is has a way to order, or gbfans.com. Sorry, not .net. They've got a store where you can order that stuff and get like the custom name badge and whatnot. So I'll do that at some point soon.
All right. And then do you worry or you're not upset with the fact that
no
the
rumble
Proton Pack was originally a HasLab and this looks like
no,
they just provided a little bit.
This is a no-brainer. They should be doing this.
Okay.
Like,
so
why would
Galactus needs a regular release? They could just modify it a little bit to look like the
I don't think that would be a bad idea, right? Like I don't think even if it was a straight re-release, I don't think it necessarily devalues what you got. I'm of the opinion that like you shouldn't be buying toys as investment pieces. So I don't really care about re-releases and whatnot. I enjoy what I have. I hope more people can have get the same joy out of this. So I think this is a no-brainer that they re-release this.
Okay. All right. That's fine. This is coming, I guess, to
the Acto Glows
Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, I can't remember which it was. Was it the figures were the exclusive or the Acto Glow?
I feel like the Acto
the Acto one. Sorry.
So it's like they didn't even have a prototype for the Ecto one. They just had like a side of the car or cardboard cutout or.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay, so they didn't produce anything. They just they got the box. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan is it a test case? Yeah.
I'll probably try and pick these up, but I don't have. I love the real Ghostbusters as a kid, but I don't have as huge of an attachment to this stuff as
So here's an interesting. Do you know why that cartoon was called The Real Ghostbusters?
I didn't up until like the past like several years.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
The uh I can't
Hanna-Barbera
remember. Was it Hanna-Barbera, or I thought it was some other animation studio
or
had.
Filmation or one of
Yeah,
them.
film. It was Filmation. Yeah, they had the rights to the name Ghostbusters,
Right,
and
because they had like a ghost busting crew as like a gorilla and something else or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, it's kind of
So
crazy.
so when they made that cartoon, they needed to differentiate themselves by saying the real Ghostbusters because it was tied to the
Right.
films. Yeah.
All right, and that's probably why Shumagorath is called Gargantos. No, I'm just throwing that out there again because I like the whole idea of changing somebody's name so you don't have to pay a license. All right, and then this is a Comic Con exclusive, and I think a lot of people were not happy that this is a Comic Con exclusive because they really want these figures that are in there, and they don't
But
think that
when
they should be locked into an exclusive.
I would normally I'd be up in arms with all those people because I just don't like the idea of exclusives.
Right,
But recently it has, at least with the Hasbro exclusives, they've been
easy to
fairly
get.
available
Right.
afterward. So they've loosened up on the exclusivity of it all. So
Yeah, see, and here's where it's kind of an interesting thing that what you're saying because I feel like last year was the first time they actually brought their exclusives back to the convention. The year
yeah.
before they had that Chrysanthemum, and it was like in an offsite location that you had to have a badge to get. But last year was
And
really,
before that they had the QR codes, you just
yeah,
order it
you
on
just order
Pulse.
them. So as we're moving back to on hand stock, then it makes me wonder: is that gonna then um, make it harder for them or less likely for them to do online, right? And then if they produce this, did they produce only enough to take to the convention or did they produce more that they're just going to leave in a warehouse? Right?
I'm sure it's the latter, but
Because
um
theoretically 150,000 people go to Comic-Con over 4 days. And they're saying like you could get two.
you know, this day and age, like especially with how much the booths cost and like where are they storing all this stuff during the convention, they should just do the QR code. There's something to be said about like taking something with you and having it in hand. I get that, but a lot of people that go to these cons like have to travel,
Yeah.
and it's just it just to me it's kind of silly. Just order it online,
Yeah,
right?
it is kind of a pain sometimes when you got a big bag in your
Yeah,
hauling it around all day. And I've
yeah.
seen what people do is they like take them immediately back to their hotel rooms and stuff like that. But for me, I'd probably be carrying it around, right? Like for a few hours at least, because my
But I mean,
car.
you're local. Some people need to get like extra suitcases to schlep around to
Yeah, that's true.
like
Well,
bring
you know,
back, or go to the like
yeah,
UPS or FedEx
I think a
store
lot of
and
people just ship their stuff back, right? But there is something about like getting it home, being able to open it up. Like in the evening, I'm done. I get home. I want to like pull it out of the box and take a look at it, right?
yeah.
Um, I'm really looking forward to this set. This is out of all the exclusives that they kind of announced, even that Duel of Fates or whatever, and the Cold Slither. This is the one pack that I really, really want.
Really,
Yeah,
to me,
this
this
is
is the. I'm not super deep into Legends. I like they look cool. Don't get me wrong, but for me, the Anakin Obi-Wan is going to be number one for me, and I never watched the GI Joe cartoon. I was just a little too
right.
young for that. But that Cold Slither set is just too freaking cool. Like
Yeah,
to me that's a must buy.
right. So Dean's checking in. He's saying, "Hello, everybody. I'm driving and listening, and obviously typing and texting at the same time. So if you are on the
Stay
road that he
safe.
takes home, just watch out that there's some dude weaving in and out of traffic, typing on his phone while he's got his eyes glued to like a little tiny screen that's probably hanging off his like vent in his car or something like that, or in one of those little cup holder things." which is nowhere near the big windshield where you would actually see traffic. So we're hoping that that is a pretty straight road, and he has that kind of ability to like have his car keep him in the lane and stuff like that. And maybe he has some sort of advanced braking alert system in there so that he does not just, you know, I mean, because that's a lot. Obviously, that's already a whole lot of comments to be thrown in there while you're driving.
And his fingers are all covered in
Right.
popcorn butter and slimy.
Right, because he's obviously been looking at every popcorn bucket. Oh man. All right. He's now trying to say he got stopped. I read this wrong. He says I was stopped outside of Best Buy and
By the police?
read it. Yeah, by the police because you were texting and driving. All right. Anyways, that's too funny. All right. Oh, I think that's it. Darn it. All right. I don't have any more slides. Did I miss anything?
There was some of the NECA stuff, but that,
you know what? Like I had I think I looked at like a Chucky with a surfboard or something like that. Was that one of them?
Well, they had a Chucky, but they had the Ninja Turtles with surfboard. I'm not sure if the surfboards actually came with the set, but they were like surf turtles. Yeah.
Right. Now Dean had a nice Jaws video that he did. Did you see it? He actually drinks a beer on camera.
I saw a clip of him going into one of the grocery stores.
So that beer is like reproduction cans of the cans they did in the 70s, which is like the same beer that Quint drinks and crushes the can or whatever. And the only thing that's missing is the little pull tab.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a modern can and stuff like that. But I just thought it was funny because like he drank the beer. I mean, I usually have my water and I sip it.
Mm-hmm.
He chugged that thing. He should have shotgunned that thing. It would have been faster.
Oh yeah. Funny story. In college, I whenever I shotgun beers, I didn't do keyhole or like a key into it. I full on Animal Housed it, like bit into the can.
Okay.
So yes, but it was worse than what you think. So my idiot friends thought it would be a great idea to put some beer through the dishwasher ahead of time. So I was already like blackout drunk, and I took the can. They were just like shotgun a beer, and it was like very hot and expanded, and I didn't know. I just grabbed it out of the case or cooler or whatever, but it was actually warm, and it exploded and sliced me like the Heath Ledger Joker. Oh my God, I was bleeding, all just blood everywhere. I still drank all the beer. I didn't know it. I was plugging the beer and I was covered in blood, like a Mick Foley at like one like WWF.
Yeah, and
that
is not.
Yeah.
This is like a really bad thing because like maybe one week what we'll do is we'll just like find crazy videos. I've been watching these like crazy videos like on FYI channel or whatever. They usually show stores and stuff, so they have this like you don't know your neighbors or whatever, and they showing all kinds of stuff that's happening. And I think that's where I saw it, but like or maybe on TikTok there's some video where like they're like, oh, my boyfriend or whatever just thought it would be funny to push me, and they push them, and there's like a video of them pushing them, and they fall over, and then the next clip is, and then I spent the next 6 months learning how to like use my hand again because they broke their neck or something. And I'm like, man, this playing pranks on people.
Oh yeah. My stepdad told me a story when he was in college. He played a prank on his roommate, put saran wrap over the toilet.
Oh,
and greased it up. And his roommate's girlfriend came over and used the toilet and slipped off and broke her hip and needed a hip replacement or something. And like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. This is rough.
Yeah. So pranks gone very wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they seem so innocuous at the time. You're thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be hilarious. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
I even think about that, where you put like shaving cream on somebody's hand and then you make them do this when they wake up.
Yep.
And I started thinking about it because like if you're ever out you doing yard work, because I'm doing yard work and I'm putting stuff, and I don't know if I was pulling something or pushing something, my hand slipped and I hit myself in the face really hard, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, like, what if like you're playing that? I mean, I don't know. I guess anything. I guess if you think like that, then you could never do anything.
Yep. Yeah.
You might as well.
Good thing I'm just glad I don't have like scars. It was like cut
right, yeah.
real bad. Yeah.
Anyways, all right. I don't have any more toy reveals or anything to talk about.
When's San Diego Comic-Con?
So it's at the end of July. It's really interesting because, like, so for a couple of years they used to send you your badge in like a little box. You'd get like a box, you'd open it up, and it would have like the Comic-Con pin. It would have like a card. It had like some different stuff, and it was like a little, like one of these like blind box little things. It was small. And then it seemed like a few years ago and it was an RFID card when that, right? Like it was actually a hard RFID, whatever. And then the last year, it was like all of a sudden it went back to what they were doing like 5 years ago, which is like a paper badge in a plastic little container with like a little RFID security tag on it. And it just, printed on a piece of paper, and nothing. They're not sending you anything. And this year, again, it's just like came in a padded envelope, and it's just plastic. Now, when you get there, they do give you the little bag, a lanyard, and usually like a pen or something, right? Like they usually give you like that stuff. So maybe they went back to that and decided, let's just not mail the stuff out. But I don't know. It's going to be a little bit different this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get tickets to it one day, but I never pay enough attention to know when the tickets go on sale, and it's also not easy, right?
Last year, I got tickets because if you're on Twitter and you know this guy, the Collectorian, he actually was like, he logged himself in, and he ended up buying my ticket for me. I mean, I paid for it and everything, but he logged in. He already had his on the pre-sale, and then he was able to get me the 4 days. That's how I got mine last year. And then this year, I was able to like get it. Like,
but don't you need your own like account? Like, don't they give preference to?
Yeah, what you do is you get into the waiting room, and then when you're in there, you just type in your username, and then it populates and says, yeah, you could do it. So you can have a friend get your ticket for you. They just need your username.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So you can help other people out and stuff like that. But
I for sure want to go to the next celebration in LA. I think that's.
Is it going to be in LA next time?
Yeah, that's not. I think it's dumb that they did it in LA and not Anaheim, because of the proximity to Disneyland.
Right.
Whatever. But I'll for sure be attempting to get passes.
Prophet is saying 2027, and JT says I usually go to the London Comic Con. See, I would like to do that one day. I want to go to like New York Comic Con. I'd like to go overseas and maybe go to the one in England, the London Comic Con. And I feel like I missed an opportunity when I didn't go to try to get tickets to Celebration Japan, because that would have been.
I heard that was trip. Me too, but on the same hand, for Celebration Japan, I heard it was like just a giant clusterfuck.
Yeah, but I would have like maybe taken a couple of weeks off and then went to like Osaka and some other parts of Japan, and then just kind of made that like one of the stops along like the trip.
That would have been that was another kind of big turnoff for me for it. even if I wanted to go, I'd be like rationalizing spending so much money just to go to a different country to be in a convention hall.
Right.
That kind of
Well,
seems
so,
counterintuitive.
so Connor saying don't come to the Dublin Comic Con. He says it's crap. But the thing is, I wasn't planning to come to the Dublin Comic Con because Connor bought me a Starbucks cup from Dublin. Now, I like collecting Starbucks cups from different parts of the world, but I took that as him telling me, you don't need to come here. I'll just send you the cup.
You were here already. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But he did send me a cup, which was actually really cool because both me and my brother like to collect the Starbucks cups and stuff like that. And that was pretty cool of Connor to send me that cup. I think it's awesome. And yep, I still drink coffee out of it to this day. But anyways, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Don't have much going on.
All right. I think we got through all the reveals and stuff. So everybody's wallets will be hurting for another couple of weeks. Don't forget to run on over to ramentoy.com and pre-order the 12-pack of Aces of Aviation so you can send me all the doubles and the if you want I can hold on to them for you, and then we'll see what happens when Comic-Con rolls around for those convention exclusives, and hopefully they will be available on their website afterwards.
Probably.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out on a Saturday afternoon. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It'll help the video push out a little bit for people to rewatch. And we'll see you next time on the Toy Duo team. And there's my little announcer voice again. Roll the music.
When you have addiction and your shelves are overflowing.
Hold tight.
When you don't know what new is coming, but you fear you might miss out. Just sit right back, just relax and watch you listen. The Toy Duo team brings you what you need. The toy news you did not know you needed. Action figures, TV news, all the pop culture you can handle
I love it when a plan comes together. What?
on your shelf.